What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another installment of Hamid Trade's YouTube channel. We're not in an uptrend anymore. I repeat, we are not in an uptrend anymore, if you haven't noticed already. All right, so we're going to talk about the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM, and the crypto markets that are doing absolutely nothing. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the video. So number one, tomorrow morning we have some important things going on. So we have Fed Powell speaking at 9 a.m. at the ECB, and then we have the final GDP numbers. So this isn't the the second quarter GDP numbers that are going to basically so essentially this data that we're getting tomorrow morning is just a guarantee of what happened during the prior quarter. The data that we're going to get at the end of July is going to be the most important data that's essentially going to tell us whether or not we're in a recession. So the data that we're getting tomorrow is just a verification that the GDP is not doing well this quarter. The end of next month is when we're going to get the data for whether or not we have two quarters of GDP doing bad. Okay, so then if we have 2 quarters of GDP doing bad, then we're in a recession. But for now, we're only getting data for one. And both of those things come out before the market opens. So holding anything overnight is going to be very, very risky. It's not worth holding anything too heavy. All right. As we can see, I did say that if we close below the uptrend levels on the market, then it makes sense to go long for puts about a month out, 3 weeks to a month out. And that's essentially what the play is at the moment. I mean, we broke this uptrend. We can continue falling lower. And we can see that the SPY broke the uptrend. We can also see that the NASDAQ also broke the uptrend. So essentially, the only issue now is that if you're holding on to heavy puts that are close dated, then you're running the risk of good positive news that is going to come out tomorrow morning, and that is going to burn your puts, which is why holding something for over 3 weeks to a month out is safer. Because if the overarching play here is to basically short levels of resistance, and we're aiming for a new low, then you would want to buy into puts that are longer dated, because eventually in the next month, you're assuming that the market is going to continue falling. The SPY is going to break down below 375, 370, etc. But now what's really, really interesting is I was assuming that we were going to hit 395 to 400. So essentially, in hindsight, this huge move that we saw on Friday was a big indicator that this move is not sustainable to the upside. So the next time we get a stupid, ridiculous move that just looks absolutely strong like this, it's a good indication that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to continue upwards. So we wanted that 395 to 400 level to start getting into shorts. They never gave that to us. What they did instead was they gave us this 393 level. The high of the day was 393.16. And 393 is basically a level that I've been sharing intraday that's very, very important. That back when, the SPY was trading over here, 393 was a very important pivot. So I was saying, above, if we close and hold above 393, then 395, 397, etc. are on the table. If we close below 393, then 390, 387, 385, etc. are on the table. So they brought it back to that very, very important level, and they didn't give people an opportunity to go short afterward, unfortunately. So it caught a lot of people from making easy money to the put side because they didn't give the proper entry. So now they can burn people even more. So essentially now, like, they've made a pretty interesting thing, basically, where they can burn shorts that have went short at the end of the day, essentially. And the worst case scenario would then be all of the people that were late to getting short. They rip the market up pre-market. We see 385 maybe, and then everyone closes their shorts, starts going long, and then from here they would bring it back down again. That would be pretty devastating for a lot of people, because they would just get whipsawed right before July 4th. And that would suck, because also Monday we have, obviously it's a trading holiday, so it's going to be a long weekend. So usually people don't like to hold into long weekends. And essentially the market tends to do well heading into July 4th. So we have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Essentially, we have 3 more days of the week. And we should start to do maybe a little well, but it's not a guarantee. But essentially, historically, the market does tend to do well into July 4th, and then it sells off. But anything can happen. But overall, even if we do well into July 4th, we end up selling off afterward. So it's gonna be pretty fun tomorrow. Like, a lot of it all just depends on what happens tomorrow morning. And aside from that, we made some good plays in the morning on the live stream of what I was doing for, in the Discord server and everything. So aside from that, like, a lot of it is just day trading. We'll get better direction after tomorrow morning, once the Fed and once we get the finalized GDP numbers. But essentially, you go short once we get verification of the break of the uptrend. And we got that on not only the SPY, the NASDAQ, on everything. So now we can see that we need a strong move to the upside if this MACD is going to continue moving upwards. And it really all just depends on tomorrow morning. I don't want to drag this out too long. There's my analysis for the overall stock market. But now, with crypto, Bitcoin's not even doing it. Bitcoin is just stagnant at the moment. It's down 2% compared to the market that's down 2 to 3%. So, I'm just waiting. I want it to fall back down to go heavier into calls for, a little bit further out. But this is some really, really overextendedness in Bitcoin at the moment. And if the market can start catching support, since we already kind of see a decoupling from the market in terms of strength, a lot of that's the problem, because with Bitcoin there's so much going on as well. There's a lot of messed up things in terms of VCs and investors and jail, and it's just really, really messed up times in the crypto market. So maybe that's why people don't have as much conviction. But then at the same time, they want people to think that Bitcoin is going to be so irrelevant and so bad. That's when they're going to bid it up. But for this week, I'm still going to remain bullish into Monday. I do believe that Bitcoin should hit 22 to 23K by Monday, by next week. I do believe that still should happen. If the market, essentially the reason for that is because if the market and Bitcoin were both very connected at the moment, Bitcoin would be falling much, much heavier, because Bitcoin tends to do that when the SPY. So if the SPY and the NASDAQ along with Bitcoin were both trading together, right? If Bitcoin is up 5%, usually the SPY and the NASDAQ were only up 1 or 2%. If the SPY and the NASDAQ were down 3%, Bitcoin was down 5%. Okay, so now the fact that we see that Bitcoin is not overperforming or underperforming compared to the stock market shows that it isn't as sensitive to what's going on in the market, which is a good sign in terms of a potential bullish move. Because even if the SPY and the NASDAQ were continuing to be bearish, Bitcoin can catch a bid and have a much needed bounce from where it should be bouncing, essentially. So that's my opinion. I want to buy into things a bit cheaper if we fall to 18 to 19K. But aside from that, there's my analysis on the stock market. There's my analysis on the crypto market. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.